Shabbat shalom, everyone. I love this image that I have of going into Shavuot. I have this image of Moshe Rabbeinu coming down from Har Sinai, coming down from the mountaintop, and he has this veil on his face because he just witnessed God. He just spoke to God face to face, and his face is radiating with light, and no one can see his face and live. And in one hand, he's got these tablets of the 10 Commandments, and then in the other hand, he has a homemade cheesecake. We're going to eat some cheesecake tonight because it's Shavuos, and there's a tradition of eating cheesecake. And of course, we're going to eat cheesecake for a very, very good reason. So someone go ahead and tell me what the reason is. Because it tastes good. I love that reason. Anyone else? Erez Lebanon. All right, a little gematria back there. I love it. Okay. The gematria of cheesecake? The word cheesecake? Okay. Anyone else? Charlotte? I got the first part. We eat dairy. Why? We eat dairy on Shavuot sometimes. Beautiful, right? Of course. So here's the real answer. Is everyone ready for the answer why we eat cheesecake on Shavuot? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Truly. You might have heard a million different reasons. Avi, you got something in the back? Agreed. And they maskim. Absolutely, it tastes wonderful. And that's as good of explanation as any. So there might be other explanations that you've heard. So there's the one, of course, that God had not yet given the Torah to the Israelites. So the Israelites couldn't perform shechita, right? They couldn't perform the correct way of sacrificing an animal or killing an animal for food, so they couldn't eat meat. That's one of the explanations. And because the Torah was given on Shabbos, they couldn't, even after they were given Torah, they couldn't prepare any food for Shabbat, so they had a dairy meal. Right? That's one of the explanations. And there are tons of other explanations. But none of them, and here's the important part, none of them show up before the 16th century in Jewish literature. And so the great truth of Shavuos is that we're going to eat cheesecake tonight, and we don't know why. And can I tell you something? I love it. I love that. I love that we have no idea. I love that this very specific ritual is just sitting there in ambiguity and that it has been drashed on for over 500 years with a million different opinions and interpretations. Because to me, that is such a perfect image for what tonight represents. Our world is a mess right now. It's a mess. I don't have to tell you that. And Rabbi Starr spoke beautifully about this last week, the decay of our country, the decay of this time in which we live. There is so much that is wrong right now. But on Shavuot, we get to write the story. We get to interpret Torah. We get to add our names to that cosmic, metaphysical list of contributors to this beautiful tradition that we call Judaism. And guess what? No matter what your Torah is, there's a place for it. Think of how radical that is, especially in a day and age where, like Rabbi Starr said last week, where there is so much arrogance and nobody listens to one another because there is only one objective truth, and each of us think that we are unique holders of that truth. Shavuot stands in the middle of everything. In the middle of mass shootings, in the middle of hate crimes and war and partisanship, and Shavuot says, let's let every Jew speak. Think about that. Not the most learned, Not the most righteous, not the ones with the best yichus. Everyone. Everyone. Enough hate, enough isolation, exclusion, hierarchy, and self-aggrandizement. Enough othering. Tonight and for the next 2 days, we are reminded that Torah, and I'm going beyond the 5 books of Moses here, Torah is not a sacred text written by one divine author. Torah begadol, Torah in its great robustness, is the cacophony of generations of diverse voices begging future generations to join in. And that is truly, and I'm not saying this with any hyperbole, I promise, it is truly the greatest thing that humankind has ever invented. That each of our voices carry authority is this great theological and philosophical equalizer that makes the entire edifice of Judaism possible. Tonight, for those joining in the tikkun that we're going to start at 7 p.m. this evening, we're going to learn about Elisha ben Abuya, an apostate who was excommunicated by his fellow rabbis, but whose Torah is ubiquitous in the Talmud and the understanding of halakha. To put it succinctly, there is no Talmud, there is no halakha with Elisha ben Abuya, who is called Acher, the other, by his fellow rabbis. There's no Talmud without this apostate. An apostate teaching Torah. That is our tradition. Do you know who else makes their way into our canon, by the way, in sacred texts in Judaism? Women, children, the elderly, gay, straight, trans, cis, black, brown, white, hermaphrodites and eunuchs, drunks and prostitutes, kings and peasants, criminals, Greeks, Romans, Persians, Christians, Muslims, and atheists. You guys, it's everyone. It's everyone. It's humanity. We all get to be teachers of Torah. And to me, that's just the coolest thing that I have ever heard. It is truly the greatest thing that humankind has ever come up with. So, Nu, why do we eat cheesecake tonight? You tell me. Tell me. Tell me what feels meaningful to you. Tell me what feels like it gives this holiday the joy and the attention that it deserves. And when you tell me, it will be just as true a reason as any other. So my friends, here is my shita. Here is my take on this question. It's not right or wrong. It just is. I think we eat cheesecake on Shavuot because it allows us to argue about why we eat cheesecake on Shavuot. And then if we argue, we have this incredible possibility of coming up with some really amazing explanations. Some explanations so powerful and so insightful that they can bring tears to our eyes and make us rethink everything. That's why I think we do it. But I can't wait to hear why you think we do. In a world so torn apart, my prayer for all of us is that we can come into this extraordinary holiday tonight in celebration. Not just the Stam celebration of Yom Tov, but the celebration of our Judaisms. And I mean that in the plural. I mean Yoni's Judaism, Mark's Judaism, Emma's Judaism, Charlotte's Judaism. That we can celebrate that our Torah is different. And that is what makes our tradition so beautiful. And so, Rabbi Sai, my teachers, you have the rest of Shabbat to get ready. And I hope you do. Because tonight, you receive Torah. You receive Torah. What you do with it, how you shape it, how you bring it into this world, how you let it grow and touch hearts and minds, is up to you. And I can't wait. May we all have a meaningful and powerful experience at Sinai, the Shavuot. Please check out all the amazing services and programs that we are offering over the next 2 days. And as we come together in Simcha, may we also do so with great equality, with great respect, and as family. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach. We'll continue now with our Musaf service.